If this year you've decided to get intentional about building wealth, then stay tuned. I have 5 tips to help you get started now. Hey, I'm Flora and welcome to Financial Elevation, the place that brings you the tips and tools to spend smartly, build wealth, and level up to financial freedom. 2020 has been a year of the unexpected, and for many of us, it's highlighted the need for financial security and for intentionally building wealth. So if you're in that bucket, today I have 5 things to share with you to help you get started on building wealth. So let's jump in. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is figuring out your why. Why do you want to build wealth and why is it important to you? Figuring out your why will help to give you a purpose and also help you keep motivation when it comes to building wealth. Whatever you decide to do in terms of managing your money should align to this purpose and the reasons why you want to build wealth in your life. And also, it's important to understand what that means for you because everyone has a unique view of what wealth means to them. So if you haven't done this before, I recommend taking 15 minutes, maybe even half an hour, to sit down with a piece of paper and just brainstorm. What does that actually look like and what does it mean for you? When you're in this state of financial freedom, what are you actually doing? Are you spending more time with your family? Are you traveling more? Who are you with? And really get a clear sense of what that lifestyle would look like for you. Once you have those specifics down on paper, it's actually a great starting point because you can start to research how much it would actually cost to build that lifestyle and be able to live in that day-to-day situation. And I'd be surprised that once you actually do this research and put the numbers on paper, you might realize that you don't need as much as you thought you did in order to have that lifestyle. The next tip is taking a look at your mindset when it comes to money. This is an absolute must if you're serious about building wealth. Trying to build wealth without understanding your mindset around money is potentially like taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back if you don't understand how the patterns of your mindset are impacting the way that you handle your money. Everyone has lessons that they've learned as kids that influence the way that they handle money as an adult. But figuring out your story around money and how it manifests in the actions that you take when you're managing your money is the first thing that you should be looking into before you start thinking about saving more or investing in the stock market. Building wealth takes strategy and tactics, but you truly can't get there if you don't believe that you're deserving of building wealth, or if you have self-sabotaging habits that prevent you from managing your money in a way that supports building wealth. You have to take the time to understand what you learned from your family, from your peers, from the media, and how that impacts the way that you manage your money now. So as an example, if you grew up in an environment where you heard money isn't for people like us, and now you have a hard time managing money, or you don't know where your money is going month to month, it's time to let go of that story and rewrite a new one. How about trying money comes to me in abundance? Once you know how your old stories about money manifest through the actions that you take when it comes to managing your money, you can take the time to find ways to prevent those limiting beliefs from holding you back from building wealth, like creating a spending plan or automating your bills so that you don't miss a payment. All right, so you figured out your why and you've cleared out the cobwebs on your old money stories. Now you need to figure out what your starting point is. In order to get from here to financial freedom, you need to know where you are right now. So yes, it's time to get those numbers out and put them all on paper. You should be looking at building a clear picture of all of your income streams, all of your expenses, and your savings. And some of the things that you should be looking at as you do this are, first of all, how much money is coming in, how much of that is going towards your expenses, and how much are you actually able to save at the end of the month. Likewise, are there any patterns that you're seeing in terms of your spending habits that could be optimized so that you're putting more focus on building wealth instead of building the wealth of other people? And once you have it all on paper, you can take the time to actually look at where your spending is in line and supporting your journey to wealth, and which parts should be optimized to help you get there faster. The next step that you want to take is mapping your goals. Now, there's some debate around setting goals. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I think it's worth giving a try so that you have a direction to work toward. Now, the goals that you set should be big enough to be a stretch, but shouldn't make you feel ashamed if you don't achieve them. The biggest problem that I see when people try to set goals is that they try to do too much in too little time, or they don't make their goal ambitious enough to actually achieve impactful change. So one way to create realistic goals is to use a framework like the SMART framework. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And this gives you a framework to set a goal that you can actually have a clear direction and also clear understanding of what you need to achieve within a specific period of time. If for some reason you say that goals aren't for you and that they actually in some way take out the motivation to achieve what you're looking for, then I would suggest at least trying to find specific focus areas that are tied to actions so that you're still going in the right direction. The point of the goal isn't to get so focused on the goal that you forget the process. In fact, you should be focusing on the process, because every action that you take should be aligned to the reasons why you want to build wealth and to help you stay on track to going in the right direction. Essentially, I like to think of it as going on a road trip. You want to know the destination, but then you want to choose the path that's the funnest way to get there, which brings me to making a plan that you can follow. Once you know the destination, you can decide which route you want to take. I like to build my plan based on sprints, which is a technique that I picked up from working in tech. Essentially, you outline the full timeline of a project and divide this into sprints, which are shorter windows of time that are allocated to complete a specific series of activities or tasks. The best way for me to explain this is through an example. Say I decide I want to buy a house in a year, and let's assume it's the 1st of January. Well, there's going to be a number of different steps that I need to complete in order to buy the house. For example, I'll need to research what kind of house I would like to buy, what neighborhood I would like to live in, go looking for homes that meet my budget and requirements, actually find a house that I want to buy, apply for a mortgage, submit an application for the house, complete the legal documentation, wait for approval from the owner of the house so that I can buy it, and then hopefully, if all goes well, I'll get the keys. I can break these down into 4 sprints of 3 months each. In January to March, I can start researching what kind of house I want and what neighborhood I would like to live in. In April to June, I can apply for a pre-qualification of a mortgage and also start to find a specific house that I would like to buy. In July to September, I can make an application and offer on the house that I would like to buy and take care of all of the legal documentation leading up to the application. And in October to December, I can wait for review and approval of my application. And again, if everything goes well, I'll get the keys. Obviously, this is a very simplistic view of buying a house, and I may be missing a few steps, but hopefully you get the idea of taking a big goal and breaking it into a smaller series of activities that you can complete within a specific amount of time that's closer in the future. 3 months is roughly a good time because it's long enough for you to have time to work on the activity, but also not so far in the future that you lose motivation. This is just one way to build a plan, but feel free to tailor to what works for you. And the important thing is to review this on a regular basis, ideally every month, so that you can stay on track and make sure that you are heading in the right direction. And also, if you need to make any changes, you can do that too. So those were my 5 tips to help you get started on building wealth today. Getting these in place will help you create a strong foundation so that you can build wealth with more ease and less stress. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up and let me know in the comments below which tips you tried out. In next week's video, I'll be taking you through my favorite tool to help you get organized. Until next time, and keep making smart money moves.